Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be back here talking about my favorite topic, small business. As you know, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So it's important for you to develop your leadership skills so you can continue to move your business forward faster and easier. And that's really what the premise of our show is. Bringing each week for almost 4 years now, different guests each week where we talk about small business, different areas and different things that can be beneficial. You know, seeing leaders, hearing from leaders, hearing how they overcame situations and what they've learned, as well as just building your knowledge of business. You know, it's a continual journey, continually learning. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics tonight, and that's maximizing profit. I think definitely business is about making money, and many people don't really focus on making money. So as a result, their business isn't as successful as it could or should be. That's an example. I've gone in and worked with someone, and we doubled his profitability on the same sales. Think about that. How much room and how much opportunity there can be for being more profitable. So it's important to get help to figure out how to do that. And the gentleman who's my guest tonight, that's what he does. He helps people be more profitable. And we're going to talk about boosting your cash flow. And, he's pretty much with his program, he generally saves you at least $100,000, and helps you make $100,000 more. So who could use an extra $100,000? Much everybody, I would suspect. So let me bring on my guest, Tom Kavanaugh, and you get a chance to meet him. Hey, Tom, how are you doing this evening?
Terrific, Andrew. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for joining us, taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out tonight, talking small business.
Favorite subject.
Definitely. So really excited about having a chance to chat with you tonight because, we had talked before and, you really, have some interesting ways that you look at financials and work with people to help them be more profitable. So I'm looking forward to digging into that. But before we do, it'd be good if you could sort of introduce yourself and sort of walk people through your journey so they can get to know you a little bit about how you got where you are and what you're doing now.
Sure. So, probably the best place in my life to start as far as what people might want to hear as far as overcoming challenges and so forth is when I was in my third year of college. Barely made it to the third year. And during the Vietnam War, I got drafted and I was going to be leaving. We had no more student deferments. But my entire life, I had been told and taught that I was a slow learner. That was what they called us. And it took us longer to learn the same things that a lot of other people might have taken half the time to do. Today, we know that challenge as dyslexia, but they didn't really have that label that they placed on it. They just said that we were slow. So my relief came when actually got drafted. I was like, I'm struggling here. I might as well just go into the military. So I spent some time in the military, and then when I got out, I didn't have the idea that I could learn, so I had to do jobs that were more like thinking on your feet. And I ended up spending a very successful 26 years in the automobile business. And what I really liked about it was the fact that I could learn things, I could think things, and I could share with people. But it wasn't the typical academic learning that we all think about. So for many, many years, I went without completing my degree. And then around 2007, I could see the economy shifting and changing, and I knew what that was going to mean for my business. And it was about time for me to retire. So I said, one of the things that's always been nagging at me is that I never finished my degree. One of the things being in the military teaches you is finish what you start. And all that time, I had never done that. So I decided to go back to school, but realizing that I couldn't learn like everybody else, I thought maybe I could find some way to learn faster. We now had this thing known as the internet, and I could do some research. So I did some research, and I discovered these accelerated learning programs. Well, that piqued my curiosity right away, and all of a sudden, I found myself immersed into the world of learning how to learn exponentially fast and with greater efficiency. And so I ended up taking these different courses from the people who actually created them. And all of a sudden, I found myself with a new career because I liked them so much and they worked so well that I decided to start my own seminar business, teaching these to other people who might have challenges learning. There's a lot of successful people out there who are what we know as either have ADHD or they have dyslexia or any of these other learning challenges, but those things can be overcome. And I didn't realize that until I went through and learned these different programs. So I ended up teaching those programs for quite some time, about 15 years. And what I discovered was that I really enjoyed helping other people who had challenges to that they felt were like, for instance, it might be a limiting belief, like they were the glass ceiling of limitations. They couldn't get past that glass ceiling. They could see where they wanted to go. They knew what they wanted, but they couldn't find how to get there. And that's what we did with these learning programs. So anyway, to make a long story short, we were just moving along really well. And then all of a sudden we got a visit by Mr. COVID. And that, of course, shut the seminar business down in one afternoon, just that quick. And so, having the ability to now learn rapidly, I decided that since I had some experience with business, that I would become a business coach. And I met a gentleman on LinkedIn and got together with him. He became my mentor, taught me how to be a coach, got me connected with this proprietary software that we utilize to help people find $100,000 in their business, and off to the races we went. So I've been teaching people how to find money in their business that they didn't know was actually there, or if they knew it was there, they didn't realize that they had access to it. And so those are some of the things that we do as we look at maximizing a business owner's profitability. And one of the catalysts for that is to help business owners start to think in terms of percentages rather than in dollar amounts. Because the more percentage that you can increase over time, it's like compound interest. These percentages will actually exponentially increase the take home that you have in your business. And that's one of the things that we all like to see, right? I mean, it's one thing to be able to sell or create a lot of revenue in your business. Most important part of that is be able to keep as much as possible. You can get lucky once and get it and create it, but you can't get lucky twice and keep it. So the idea is that we want to make sure that everybody has a roadmap to follow. And when I work with people, I run them through the software. I run their business through the software. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and we cover 12 different areas in the software. I don't charge anybody for this. It just is a way of me helping them identify the areas of opportunity in their business. And from there, it'll populate a roadmap for them to follow over the next 12 months to be able to achieve the amount of dollars in net profit and in revenue increase that we've set out at the beginning of our time together. So essentially, keeping a small business owner alive is one thing. Helping a business owner thrive is completely different. And so many people I find, especially the small business owners, we're emerging from the hibernation of COVID with what we would call the deer in the headlights look. It's like I just made it through this, and now I've got recession and I've got all these other things I've got to face. I don't know how I'm going to make this work. And so our job is to be completely objective when we look at someone's business and we find the opportunity for them to improve the business in ways that may have discounted or hadn't thought about in a while, overlooked, and then combined together synergistically, all of those add up in those percentages. And then we come up with the additional dollars that they'll be able to retain in their business. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Okay, great. So basically, you would say that you help people thrive and not just survive and make more
Exactly.
money in any business environment. That's like part of my video. So definitely, most businesses and business owners are only tapping into, part of the potential that they have. And why would you say that is? And what would you say that they're missing most of the times when you're working with them?
For instance, when I talk about helping people find $100,000 in their business, there's a caveat to that, and the caveat is that you need to be doing pretty close to 100,000 for me to be able to help you double that amount of revenue in your business. If you're doing $20,000 a year in business, obviously 100,000 is going to be out of sight for you in the beginning, but we can help you find another 20 if that's what your limitations are. So the key here is this: you asked me a question about what they need to focus on, or what maybe they might be. I want to use the word maybe fearful of in their business. And a lot of people are fearful of getting outside of their comfort zone because they don't know what risks are involved, and they're hanging on so tight to what they have that there's an old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. In other words, there's a lot of things that could be right in front of them, but they're not seeing it because of the fear factor that they are concerned about risking their livelihood by looking at other avenues. And one of the things that I recommend is, we have some of the greatest research tools on the planet available to us for complete free. I mean, it's just like we can type into Google and Mr. Google can pretty much help us with almost anything. So the idea is that if you're thinking about a specific area that you want to improve on in your business, then let's do some research together and let's find out what other people are doing and what their livelihood is. And our particular software is populated with 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences. Now, that's a lot of techno goop, but the idea is that it's a pretty smart piece of software. And when we plug in the numbers of your business, it comes back and tells us what the numbers are for the businesses that are doing well in your industry. There's really only about 162 industries out there. So we've been able to get this programmed where we can pretty much tell on a financial statement where you should be compared to the other people that are making it work. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, definitely, research is key. And most business owners don't really do the type of research or enough research that as they should. Part of it is you talked about when you were young and dyslexia and ADD. But I watched a video of someone did a TED talk and was saying how, mostly all entrepreneurs have ADD, and you almost kind of have to have that to be a successful entrepreneur. And I don't know if you would agree with that, but what are your thoughts?
I think to a certain degree, ADD is a great asset to have because it really does help you hyper focus on what you need to do. But when we talk about, let me give you some specific examples of how someone could literally improve their business without spending an awful lot of money. The elevator pitch, or the 59-second pitch that I have for people when they ask me what I do, is I say, look, I can help any business owner find $100,000 in their business in about 45 minutes or less without them investing an additional dollar in marketing or advertising. And that begs the question, how do you do that? Well, we look at these 12 specific areas, and I'm going to share one or two of them with you right now. So when we look at the comparison between what your gross revenue is in your business, top line revenue, and what your net revenue is, what you get to keep, sometimes there's a huge disparity. And what I mean is that we can increase our revenue. Let's say your net profit margin is 20%. So if I help you increase your business by $100,000 a year, you're going to get to keep $20,000 of that. However, if I help you find $100,000 in your business, let's say, for instance, as an example, in your accounts receivable, I know that that's a taboo subject for a lot of business owners because they love to sell, but they hate to ask for the money. And so what they end up doing is they end up financing their customer's business by allowing them to float their money for extended periods of time. But if I show you how to save $100,000 in your business, you get to keep all of that money. So one of the things I might do, if you had, let's say you had $100,000 outstanding in your accounts receivable, I'd ask you for a list of your customers with their phone numbers, the amount that they owe, and the aging of the account. And I would get on the phone and I would offer them 4 simple choices. And I would say, Mr. Customer, I'm calling on behalf of XYZ store, and I'm not a collection agency. Just want to let you know that up front. We're just here to work out the situation. And we have 4 different options available for you. And I know that before we're over our call today, you'll have picked one of those 4 options and we can move on with our life. Does that sound appealing to you? And of course, maybe sometimes there's resistance and other people are very curious, but they say, what are the 4 options? I'll say, well, first of all, you can send over an electronic payment in full, and we're good to go. You can continue doing business with us. We'd love to keep doing business with you. And some people respond like, I've just been waiting for the call. I know it's overdue. Let me give you my credit card, and they'll pay it right up front. Number 2 option is you can send over a check. It's got to be good, but we can continue doing business, and that'll work fine. Number 3 option is we can put you onto a mutually agreeable and mutually beneficial payment plan. However, the caveat is that all purchases that you make until the payment plan is fulfilled have to be in cash, and we're happy to continue doing business with you that way. And the number 4 option, which I'm sure neither one of us would like, is we'll see you in court. So which of those 4 would you like? And then I just stay quiet and I wait for the response. If I get click on the phone, I know it's number 4. And anything else other than that, we have time to talk about. So those are some of the useful options that we have available to literally help a business owner get that momentum started, get some cash flow back in their business so they're not under that extreme pressure. The other thing that we can do is most people are really afraid that they haven't raised their prices in a very, very long time. Some people even before COVID, and yet their expenses keep going up and up and up. So one of the things that we do is we take a look at what their options are. Like for instance, let's take a chiropractor, for instance, and a chiropractor is doing maybe 800 adjustments per month. That's a busy chiropractor, but they're doing 800 adjustments per month. And they're probably netting somewhere in the vicinity of about $6,000 or $7,000 a month, somewhere in that range, depending upon how they run their business, how large the operation is, and so forth. But the idea is that we take a look at what their net profit is. And then let's just take a look at an average adjustment. Let's say it's $70 off the top of my head as an average. If you were to have the chiropractor notify everybody up front that within 30 days, this is what's going to happen. It's been a long time, 5 years, 6 years, whatever, since we've raised our prices. And now we find it's absolutely necessary to continue providing you with the excellent service that you're used to having. So the prices are going to go from 70 to say $77 a month. That's a 10% increase in the fee of the adjustments. Now, if you take the $7 times 800 adjustments, that's about $5,600 per month. There's been no expense in increasing the price. There's been no expense as far as anything else is concerned, other than the time it took to type the letter and send it out on the email blast. And now you have literally doubled the net income of the chiropractor. So the idea is that there are different things we can do that allow us to help a business owner increase their net profit, their take home, increase their cash flow, increase the top line revenue in their business without a lot of expenses involved with it, just simply tweaking here and there so that they can get an aggregate total together. And at the end of that 12 months, they should be able to realize the increase that we've talked about.
Okay. All right. So yeah, those are definitely some ways that you can do it. A lot of times people keep cash. You talked about in accounts receivable. What about accounts payable and inventory? Those are some places that I look at as well. I'm sure you look at those too. And what do you look at in those?
Well, let me start off with inventory. That's really important because an awful lot of an owner's cash is tied up in their inventory. So the idea is there are different systems that you can utilize, but the first thing we want to do is we want to do some research, some analysis into the business and find out what sells and how often it sells, what the turnover rate is, what the profit margin is. And then we want to look at the things that are sitting in inventory that aren't selling, and that's cash. We need to convert the inventory that isn't moving into cash to free up that cash for the business owner. So that's the first thing I would do is I would look at how we can put together packages that would include parts of this inventory where we can turn around and turn it into cash. Now, every business is unique in the inventory that they carry. So we would have to take a look at what the individual needs are of the business, what the individual opportunities and options are that we could provide to that business's clients. And maybe we would have to even go out into the general public and maybe run some ads or do something like that, make it available to the public at a steep discount so that we can get the cash flow moving again. Remember that the fear of losing the money that's in the inventory sometimes overrules the logic that a slight discount or even a larger discount can at least get the company solvent again and get cash flow moving in the business, which is critical. It's the lifeblood of the business is cash flow. So keeping the inventory lean, having a turnover system that you can monitor and manage properly so that it's on demand, that's critically important. One of the reasons that Amazon is so successful in getting overnight deliveries to everybody is they require their vendors to have inventory on hand, but it doesn't cost Amazon any money for them to do that. They have the warehouse, yes, of course, they have that, and they have the people who have to pick the items off of the shelves and so forth. But that has made Amazon the number one retailer in the world because they have been able to do what very few other businesses have been able to achieve, and that's overnight delivery. Sometimes it's even same day, depending upon where you are. So having that lean inventory is critical for a small business owner.
Okay. And Amazon takes it one step further. They actually charge you to keep your inventory.
Yeah.
So,
That's brilliant, really.
So they charge you uh, because I have some clients that work with Amazon, and you look
Right,
at all these expenses.
right.
Amazon's doing all right. Um,
Yeah.
so it must be nice. So before we go too far, I want to take a second. We do this show through the Small Business Pro University, and we do have a lot of resources and valuable tools for entrepreneurs and business owners. But one thing that we do, we've been doing for over 10 years, is events for entrepreneurs and business owners. And our next one's coming up next month, July 26th. It's the Small Business Pro Power Conference. Precious the Killer Pitch Master Williams is going to be speaking, and it's going to be in Newark, New Jersey. So if you're in the area, definitely don't want to miss it. Even if you're not in the area, it's going to be worth coming out to check out. So I'll put a link in the chat, and if you're interested, you can get more information and sign up and join us if you want. So cool. That's something we have coming up, but let me just take a sec to just put a quick video so people can see, what is Small Business University and what do we do? So here's a quick video, and then I'll be back with Tom talking small business. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded the Small Business Pro University to help business owners break that cycle by empowering them with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead their companies more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a Navy officer, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing faster and easier. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include more than 100 expert-led multimedia courses and training programs with more than 2,500 lessons. The Small Business Pro Network, our private community for entrepreneurs. Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, our weekly live stream and podcast. Advanced Learning Institutes focused on revenue generation, profit maximization, and capital acquisition. And the Power Breakfast series, in-person events where business owners learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. If you want to sell more and make more, you need to check out Small Business Pro University. Visit our website at www.sbprou.com. Okay, I'm back with Tom Kavanaugh talking small business. We're talking about how to maximize your profit and really the key to boosting your cash flow. So you talked about your receivables, you talked about your inventory and sort of the impacts that they have on cash flow. How about your accounts payables? Is that something that we should look at for our cash flow, and why and how?
I think that's a really awesome question because there are a lot of people who are in business who hate to owe anybody anything. And so as soon as a bill comes across their desk, they write a check or they make a payment and they take care of the bill. And that can have an adverse effect on the cash flow of their business. They feel good about the fact that they don't owe anybody any money, but it's not helping their business. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to suggest that you negotiate the longest payment terms that you can, that your vendors will allow, and without, taking advantage of them, of course, because they need to feed their families as well. But the idea is that you get yourself a cushion to work with, and then you have money sitting in the bank when you need it. If there's an emergency, you can take advantage of the fact that you're fluid, you're cash fluid, and you have the ability to handle whatever comes along. Maybe a piece of equipment breaks down that you weren't expecting, and then it's out of warranty, and you have to go either have it fixed or you have to replace it. All of those different things that happen in business when we least expect it. Business is famous for having those things happen. So the idea is that when it comes to accounts payable, work out reasonable payment schedule with your vendors and make sure that it's mutually beneficial for everybody.
All right. So definitely it's a way to sort of mitigate your cash. Also, it can be a way to balance out your receivables. So if people are, if you're not getting paid yet for stuff and you balance it out with the payables, then you don't have to finance it elsewhere where there's going to be a cost.
Sure.
So definitely keeping those in balance is a good thing to make sure you're doing. So, okay. So now, Tom, when you're working with people as well, you talked about you come in, possibly they may need to raise prices, possibly they may need to look at their cash flow. What other things might you do to really help them be more profitable, or where are some other places you might look to figure out if there's profit opportunities?
Well, Andrew, I think the number one area that I would focus on for any business, I don't care what kind of a business it is, whether it's a product-oriented business, if it's a service-oriented business, I think the number one driver of business for any small business owner is, what is your offer? How have you crafted an offer that makes you and your product or your service irresistible to the buying public? How can you craft an offer so that it is so good that the person reading about that offer literally feels, I don't want to use the term stupid, but really they feel stupid if they don't take advantage of it because it's such a great value. And there's a formula for creating and crafting a valuable offer. And usually that formula means that the value that you're providing to the buying client is literally 10 times more in value than what you're asking them to invest in either your product or your service. Now, a lot of small business owners I've worked with have looked at me like I'm crazy because how can I provide 10 times more value? I'd go broke. Not necessarily. There's a lot of things that you do for your clients automatically that have value that you take for granted because you're either a nice man or woman, or you just want to give them excellent service, or any of those things. But each of the things that you do with and for your clients have value. You can list those things and you can assign a value to them. I'm not asking you to overvalue anything to make the 10-to-1 ratio, but use the 10-to-1 ratio as a guide. If in the beginning you only have a 5-to-1 ratio, is that better than where you were at 1-to-1 ratio in the old ads or the old offers that you have? And the key is the part about business that's so important that I think a lot of small business owners overlook. There are four basic pieces to running a small business. Number one is lead generation. You have to find a way to attract the leads. The offer is one of the big things that does that. Number two is lead conversion. Once you get a lead, how do you convert them into a paying client or a customer? And that comes again with that's backed up with the offer. Number three, once you've converted that person into being a client or a customer, or in the form of medical services as a patient, you need to be able to fulfill on what your promise was that you've made to them. And here's the fourth part that I believe is the one that's most overlooked. How do you retain them as a client, customer, or patient? In other words, what is the retention percentage of your business that you have compared to everybody else in your industry. Because there are outliers, there are people who are doing exceptionally well in the same business that you're in, and they're very profitable. But remember, it's about margins. It's about having the right cash flow, the right profit percentage is the margin that I'm talking about. The people with the highest margins are obviously the ones who have the best opportunity to capitalize on better net profit in the long term. If you think about any business that's in business now, all of them started out small at one point, but the ones that are the most financially successful are the ones that have the largest margins. And you take some of that margin and you apply it to retaining these people as your best customers, clients, or patients, so that they'll come back time and time again and continue to do business with you. And then now, once you have that in place, now you have an opportunity to get really good quality referrals through your retention program. And then that starts this 4-step cycle all over again: leads, conversions, fulfillment, and then retention.
Okay. One of the things you're talking about there is the lifetime customer value. And, from, revenues generated from that customer, but also potentially from leads. Um, so, okay, great point. And, one thing I always say, and you said that, greatly, is like, the number one most important job as a business owner is to sell and market. Because if you don't have any sales, then you don't really have much business. So, and I find that most business owners don't really know much about sales or marketing, but they're out there just doing it, which obviously they could get better results if they knew more about sales and marketing. So it's always good to develop your skills because there's best practices around how to do that. And sometimes you can have, small things can have a huge impact. So, definitely encourage people to develop those skills. So you talked about an irresistible offer and that it should be 10 times what the value of what you're offering, or at least it should be communicated as 10 times the value of what you're offering. Does that hold true for product businesses as well as service businesses, or is that just like a service business thing?
No, the formula can be used for either service or for product. The one thing that a lot of small business owners don't take into account for their customers is the fact that inherent in every solution that you offer your customer, there are going to be built-in new challenges for them. And so if you offer them a service that is going to, let's take a chiropractor as an example. When you offer a service of keeping a client into a steady state of being adjusted, there are other things that can be done to offer that particular patient an extra value that they didn't know that they were receiving. Like, for instance, are there specific exercise regimens that the chiropractor can offer as part of a package that they could offer? And included in that package would be an exercise regimen. We also know that diet plays a really big part to personal health and adjustments. So the key is when you have the right diet and you have the right exercise regimen, it makes the chiropractor's job much easier to keep people in alignment, and then everybody wins. But in addition to those two things, what are some of the other things that can be offered that will help them see the value in that? And then you look at someone who's presenting a product. Well, if I'm selling you a, let's just say coffee maker. Let's just say you're in the market for a coffee maker. We make the best coffee makers in the world, but we want to make sure that the things that you need for a coffee maker could be included in a package deal. So, for instance, what kind of coffee filters will make the coffee that you're going to use tastes that much better. There are tons of different coffee filters out there. We think they're just a coffee filter, but there are some that filter the coffee much better than others. Some have maybe a slight hint of an odor to them because they're bleached or whatever. All of those different things we take into account. Now we've got an explanation as to why this enhances the value of what you get when you buy a coffee maker from us. Now, the other part of that is what type of coffee works best with this specific type of coffee maker. Now we have an opportunity to provide some specific types of coffee that are not only going to work better, but because we're using the right filters, they'll taste better. And so there's other things that we can add to the value package in the offer that will allow either the product or the service to have a perceived value much higher than what we're asking them to invest in. Sometimes I have seen companies give away the object in exchange for being able to sell the recurring revenue product that goes along that's going to be used by the object. In other words, if we gave you a coffee maker, we want to put you on a program of selling you the same coffee that we know will work best on a recurring revenue basis on a monthly basis. And now we make the money from the coffee. The cost of the coffee maker was inconsequential, but you got a really big free gift that made the value appear much greater. So whether it's a product or whether it's a service, the same concept in offers can be applied to both.
Oh, okay. Great. Great. So, you know, definitely, you're looking at basically quite a few different ways to look at increasing the value, and just making sure that, but it also is a way to differentiate you from your competition as well, which is good. So now, having the offer, but you need people to make the offer too. So that's, I guess, where lead gen comes in, because the offer sort of, I guess, would be lead conversion. So what is lead? What is lead gen first? For some people, may need to know that and understand sort of what it really means. But also, what are some best practices around it? Because definitely there's some better ways than other ways to do it.
I think that every small business owner has a unique ability because of the passion they have for the business they're in. That drives the lead generation more than anything else that I'm aware of. Because when you really believe in the service or the product that you offer the public, it comes across. If you're just a salesperson trying to make a commission, that comes across too. So when you have lead generation practices, some of the things that I believe are critically important to a small business owner, especially, is branding. People need to know you as the whatever that is. Like, for instance, in the video that you talked about with the upcoming program, the young lady that you have as the guest speaker there is the pitch master. That's a brand, okay? And that everybody's going to come to listen to what the best pitch is. Because if you have the right pitch, you can at least pique enough curiosity for people to ask the question, how do you do that? Or what is that? Or any type of question that will get that to their mind where they want to know more. So the key is in lead generation. One of the things that I do is I have about, I think it's somewhere around 15 or 16,000 connections on LinkedIn. If you go onto my LinkedIn profile and we connect, you'll see that every single day there are 3 mini blog posts that I do Monday through Friday on my LinkedIn profile. And I give away free, valuable content for small business owners, pieces of information that have utility that they can literally put to use in their business that day, whether it's mindset or whether it's a specific type of process. It's something that I give away freely without the expectation of anything in return. That's the branding that I have on LinkedIn. On YouTube or some of the other channels that I'm involved in, I might give away other information, like, for instance, On Facebook, I have a group where I do a daily read on a business. I'm not on a business, but on a book. And usually it has something to do with some type of either mindset or maybe with business or something else. But the idea is that I'm giving people a synopsis of what that information and that was contained in that book was all about and a recommendation on whether I think it might be worth their while or not. It's kind of like a mini summary in a sense, but it's enough to intrigue people and help people to know that this is something that's worth the investment of their time. So making yourself branded as the go-to expert in your field of endeavor is critical. With a dentist, one of the most important pieces of branding you can have is the no judgment dentist. So many people are afraid of going to a dentist because they're going to be judged for not having taken care of their teeth properly or whatever that is, the shame that goes along with that. You want to have basically testimonials of patients who have said, this person treated me like I was gold customer, that there was no judgment. They really wanted my peace and my comfort. Those are the testimonials. So with leads, remember that third party endorsement speaks 10 times more value to a stranger who's considering doing business with you than if you were to sit down across the table from that stranger for the next 60 minutes and try to convince them that you are the best at what you do. Let other people who have taken the time to do business with you, they've taken their wallet out, they've taken money out of their credit card, and they've invested with you. Let those people convince the people through their testimonials, honest testimonials, of how good you are and why they should do business with you. That's the most important thing that I believe you can do. Whether you are on LinkedIn and you have testimonials or recommendations, whether you're on Alignable, you have recommendations, all of those speak volumes. And the nice part about that is that those testimonials will stay there as long as you're in business. And that is critical. You do the work one time and ask for a testimonial, or someone offers a testimonial, and it stays up there. Now, if you're not a business that does a lot of work on the internet, you don't do a lot of business on the internet, you're a brick and mortar. One of the things I would do is I would find a way to make it possible for your customers, your clients, or your patients to want to write you a testimonial in their handwriting or even in a typewritten format where you could print it out, have them sign it, and then you could put that into a 3-ring binder with a protector because that's like gold for your business. And as you're maybe doing some paperwork and so forth, helping your potential customer, say, look, there's some other folks that would like to speak to you about what we do here. Please take a moment and look through what they have to say about us, because that will do more for your business than you trying to sit there and talk to them until you're blue in the face that you're really good about what you do. So the lead gen is all about how do you become the attraction factor. We call it magnetic marketing. You become the magnet for people who want to do business with you. And there are many different ways to do it. Each business is unique, but these are some of the tried and true methods that I've found work really well for our clients over a period of time. Does that help?
Definitely, definitely. So you talked about branding, and branding can mean different things to different people. Um, and you talked about your brand, but you didn't say anything about like logos and other stuff like that. So when you're a small business, what do you consider your brand? And do you view logos and other stuff as important, or is there other pieces of your brand more important?
I'm happy you brought that up because when you're in business for yourself, sometimes small business owners feel like you're in business by yourself, and that's not really the way that you want to feel about the business. So the brand helps you expand awareness of who you are, so more people will want to do business with you. A logo is critically important in many respects because people get to identify you in the quality of what you provide through the logo. And the key here is a logo can make or break a business in many senses, because if it is something that is maybe it turns people off, or that people don't understand it, or it's confusing, then remember that a picture speaks 1,000 words. And so when you have a logo, there are certain colors that would be considered in the logo to make people feel better. There are certain designs in the logo that make people feel more comfortable there, and it depends upon your client as well. If you're trying to attract Gen Z, or some of the other, the millennials and so forth, your logo might be completely different than if you were trying to attract people who are older, getting ready for retirement. Like the Rock of Gibraltar might be better for that type of an audience rather than somebody on a surfboard. So the logo does play a big part in that. If you're going to be out into the public and you're going to be creating that attention about who you are and what you do, the logo is very important. Nowadays, we have basically apps that allow us to hand out a business card through a digital format rather than handing somebody a physical card. They can just scan a barcode, and all of the information about you and your business is on their phone. The logo would be a very big part of that, because if you just get lost in their contacts, seeing your logo next to your name can be a trigger for them to remember who you are. Also, having a picture there, critically important on paperwork. For instance, if you're going to continue to use business cards, having your picture on the business card, I think, is mandatory, because it allows people to remember who you are and what you do. And if you have the digital app, you want to make sure that your picture's there. There are even digital apps now that I'm aware of that will provide you with the opportunity to do a video pitch to people when they get your contact information. It literally will just come up with your name. They can press a button, and then you can tell them all about your business. So as we continue to move and we continue to transition into more of a digital world, the logo can play a very big part in helping people to recognize who you are. And then we go into the other parts of branding, and those pieces will all solidify together to make people more aware of who you are.
Okay. Definitely key to have people be aware of who you are. Many times, it's been said that, when you're a small business, you are your brand. So more than anything else, it's your reputation, more so than your company name. Sometimes even more so than your logo and other stuff. It's like about who you are and who people perceive you to be. And we've got a question here that combines them both. And the question is it okay for a person's name to be a logo? So that's from Roberta Vigilance. What are your
Well, I think
thoughts on that?
I think that Roberta makes a really good um, point about the fact that their name can be the logo. You can have somebody who's very creative in a design, and since you are the business, you are considered to be the brand of the business, then your name as the logo, if it's done properly and creatively, could absolutely serve as the logo. I have seen that done many, many times before, and very, very successfully. So I think that it's up to the individual as to how they want to be perceived in the audience, if you will, that they're presenting to. But there's absolutely everything right with having your name as the logo.
All right, definitely. So, the one case in point is Precious the Killer Pitchmaster Williams. Her name is her logo. So, her signature name is a big piece of her logo. So, that combines it being identifying you visually as well as otherwise. So that's cool. So time goes really fast, and we're already bumping up on the hour. So, but before we go, I want to make sure that at least you share the three key things that you want people to take away from what we discussed, because we did discuss a whole bunch of stuff, but most people can only remember three things. So we want to leave them with the key things to remember. And also, the recording is going to be available if they need to come in and hear some of the other things again. So I'll give you a minute to think about what three things you want to leave people with. And then I'm just going to play a short video about the upcoming conference, and we'll go from there. We're here at the Small Business Power Breakfast and Conference. I'm excited to say that we had a great day.
This event was a wow. Every panel, every speaker has had so much amazing content and good information to share.
This is a good day to put aside to come out and do some learning, but also make some great connections. The ones that I made were impactful.
Hi, I'm Andrew Frazier, masterpreneur and founder of the Small Business Pro University. For more than 10 years, our events have directly resulted in tens of millions of dollars in both revenue and financing for attendees. Join me at the Small Business Pro Power Conference on July 26th in Newark, New Jersey, to learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. We will supercharge your day.
Hi, I'm Lana Molina, Community Outreach Liaison for Lakeland Bank. Lakeland Bank is proud to sponsor the Power Breakfast this year, actually for the entire year. We are very thrilled for this partnership to put much needed small business financial literacy education and create forums like this for entrepreneurs and small business owners to meet, interact, learn, and network.
The conference theme is Secrets to Generating More Revenue. And you don't want to miss our featured guest speaker, Precious L. Williams, the Killer Pitchmaster. She will be talking about Rainmaking 101 from day one.
Good day, everyone. Hey, hey, hey. It's your girl, Precious Williams, the Killer Pitchmaster, and I can't wait to see you at the Small Business Power Breakfast and Conference. Be there or be square. I know you're going to be there.
You'll also want to check out our expert panel, Creating Strategic Alliances to Drive Revenue Growth. I look forward to seeing you at the Small Business Pro Power Conference on July 26th in Newark, New Jersey. To learn more and register, visit www.sbprouU.com/conference. Take advantage of our early bird pricing by registering today at www.sbprouU.com/conference. Okay. All right. Welcome back. I'm here with Tom Kavanaugh, talking small business. We talked about maximizing profitability, and we talked about boosting your cash flow. We covered a lot of great things, but Tom, what are some of the key things that people should take away from our conversation this evening?
I think the three things that I could offer everybody, and by the way, I just want to say, I think what you're doing with the podcast and the SB Pro University is just absolutely phenomenal. I don't know anybody else out there in the business community who's doing what you're doing the way you're doing it, and I applaud you for that. I think, the reason that you have so many dedicated followers is because you provide so much value for, what you do. So I wanted to say thank you first. The key for me, though, in providing three pieces or suggestions on what people could take with them. First of all, I mentioned a roadmap with the software that we provide. I think if you have goals in your business, you have to learn how to achieve those goals. You have to learn what the integral parts of a goal are. The SMART goal process is critical to success, in my opinion. If you learn what the SMART goal process is, that will pretty much help you as long as you have the discipline to stay with it. So setting and achieving goals is the number one piece of advice that I might share. Number two, I think focusing on the four pieces of any business and having processes in place that are flexible, but allow you to really have a good system for generating leads, number one, converting those leads into clients, fulfilling those clients with what you've made your promise. And number four, learning how to retain those clients. And that leads me to the number three area that I would recommend is take care of the people who fund your business. In other words, your customers, your clients, your patients are those people that fund your business. It has to be a symbiotic relationship. You've got to be able to receive as much from them as you do in providing for them. But the idea is that when you take really good care of your people, they will take care of you. They'll come back to you on a regular basis. If you sell a one-time item, when it breaks 20 years down the road, they'll come back. But the idea is in those 20 years, they probably told 30 or 40 people about how great of a service you gave them, a great product it was, and that you should be the only place for them to go to get that particular product. So the word of mouth advertising is something that's intangible, but you can create the desire in people to give you word of mouth advertising simply by making sure that they're feeling and knowing that they're well taken care of in your business.
All right. So here you have it, the three things. Number one, setting smart goals. What I find is generally when I set goals and develop a plan, I'll exceed what I plan to do. So just writing things, the act of writing things down and thinking them through can really improve your progress. So definitely perfect. Systems and processes throughout the four steps of the customer journey. Definitely being able to make that a smooth process and help people make it through each step in a really positive way. And that leads you to number three, which is taking care of the customers, taking care of the people that you are closest with. A lot of my clients, when we talk, I'm like, I'm on your team. So it's not like, I'm working for you, I'm working with you, and vice versa. And, that's a different level of relationship. And, definitely having a client relationship, they're putting trust in you. So you have to demonstrate that you are committed to them. So no, I think these are perfect. This has been a great conversation. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Andrew, it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share this with your audience, and I'm hoping that they get something that they can take.
Okay, definitely appreciate that. And before you go, I just want to make sure people know that they can find you on LinkedIn, and you will accept their invites to connect. And also, we've got your website here, and all these are in the chat as well. So definitely. People are welcome to check those out. So thanks again for joining me. Hang out for a minute while I close things out. Anything else you want to share before we?
That's it. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, excellent. So I'm excited to have another great episode of Leadership Live at 8:05. Always appreciate you for joining in live when you can, and if not, you're hearing it on the replay, and hopefully you're getting a lot out of it as well. So thanks again for that. As you know, each week we have some great guests and great topics, and actually next week, we're going to talk a little bit about managing by the numbers to run your business like a pro. So we're really even going to talk in more detail about, when you think of operational excellence and really increasing efficiency with your business, those are some of the key things that you need to be able to run your business by the numbers with, as well as you can't really grow successfully without understanding your numbers and being able to make sure that your business is running the way you want it. So definitely looking forward to that conversation next week as well. And, definitely in the interim, take care, have a great week. And at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.